Welcome back to the Nullified Take channel on here on YouTube, where we've got the TNT takes for you for season 45 of Survivor episode 4. We're doing the recap. It's Kahuna, it's Jake. How you feeling today, Jake? Welcome.
I'm doing good. Thanks for having me. Teacher's gone. Chris is gone. The kids can party now.
I'm stepping into the big seat for Chris today. He asked me if I could help him out. He's got a lot on his plate. I said I'm more than happy to hang out with Jake and talk about a show that we love. Before we get into the episode, let's send a shout out to the chat, people that are always there for us and make the whole thing a lot more fun. Before Danica B, hi guys. So far, I'm meh on this season, not loving it. It's just okay. On another note, I'm irritated that I accidentally found out who was last on the Amazing Race AU, and I'm frustrated since I haven't seen it yet. Oh, we're going to be doing the Amazing Race Australia later on tonight in about 11 hours from now, I think, is when that next one comes on. So I'm a busy boy today too. Aaron said, hi, Chris and Kahuna. My theory is that the result from last tribal impacted the tribal result. The result from last tribal impacted the tribal result of this one. Okay, we'll get into all the results and break down exactly what happened. Why that? I never understood why did we miss the Flint one?
Yeah, I think Asher up there was complaining about taking the supplies and messing with how much food they get and stuff.
Before Danica V says Kahuna and Jake, where were you last week? There's the question everyone wants to know, mate. You abandoned us, and now it's Chris this week.
Yeah, I did. I had to pick up my parents from the airport.
We'll allow it.
Yeah.
As soon as anyone says airport, you have to drop everything.
I know.
I
know. Yeah.
The airport rules the schedule.
Exactly.
Georgette, welcome. Hi, guys. Of course, Dolores, one of my favorite people, is on. I was watching The Devil's Plan and stopped just for you guys. Looking forward to this because this is going to be good. I hope so. Thank you so much, Dolores, as always. Aaron, shout out to Jake. Hi, Jake. Also agree. We saw the Lost of Flint story play out in 41 of UA Tribe. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's played its course.
Yeah. And just so you know, you've got Danica's
okay.
allowance there as well.
As long as Danica B approves, then I'm okay.
Welcome, everyone. But episode 4, season 45 of Survivor, the show that brought us all together. That was the show that we know and love so much. Episode begins with a recap of the previous episode where we saw Lulu finally won their first reward challenge, but lost immunity again, making it 3 for 3. They're just really, really good at that particular skill, losing immunity challenges. We saw Sabaya voted out after Emily sort of went to Caleb. And then we start the episode with them kind of discussing what went down. Shan with Caleb and Emily, and in a really, really awkward sort of setting. How did you feel about the fallout from Sabaya being such a prominent member of the tribe, leading the tribe, getting the boot, and then Shan having to deal with what happened afterwards?
I swear, it's so funny because, Emily is doing a lot better. We'll talk about, she's doing really well now, but she's still showing flashes of her mishaps from the first episode when Shan brings up, oh, Caleb, it was never my idea to vote for you. She immediately has to bring up, oh, so then it was me. And it's like, yes, Emily, you're right. That is what that means. But you don't need to say it. You don't need to say it. It's just, yeah, it's pretty funny watching Shan squirm because he's just been so comfortable this entire time. He's just never been in danger, and just that 0, or I guess 100 to 0, not 0 to 100, happening so quickly.
Really interesting episode from Sean. Just a weird sort of way that it
Weird,
ended up, which we will definitely
weird.
talk about. But
Yeah,
based on what we saw at the start, and as awkward as it was being blindsided by two people and you're the only one left with him, it really felt to me like he was trying. Like he started turning on the charm a little bit more, saying the cable, it was never about you, Emily, throwing in her bit. Well, then that was me. But it felt like he didn't resign himself to it. He was sucking up. He was like schmoozing and trying to get back in somehow, even though there was only three of them and they weren't sure what was coming up. But what we do sort of see next after that, and the only thing that can save him, he hopes, and I think all of Lulu is actually hoping for some sort of tribe swap, and we get it this episode. They land on the mats, and Jeff screams to our 15 remaining players to drop your buffs. The famous saying. Did you expect it at this point? What were you thinking was going to happen here? Because I believe this is the first time in the new era we've had
this is
anything fun.
this is obviously we all saw the preview from last week, so I wasn't shocked while we were watching it, but in the preview, when I saw in the preview from last week that there was going to be a tribe swap, I was shocked, but I was freaking excited. Something is changing finally. I mean, because that's the whole thing. We were is the change. We've all been complaining from like, I don't know, probably like 35 to 40, is that there's too many tribe swaps. There's a tribe swap every season. They need to switch it up. And it seems like that they don't really get that memo that it's not the twist that's bad, the twist of not swapping or swapping. It's the repetition. It's the doing it every single time so they know exactly what to expect. And I could tell on their faces they were not expecting this, and so that made me happy.
Weird question. Do you think production was expecting it? I wonder if Lulu was doing so bad and they were like, we're going to lose the entire tribe before we get to any kind of swap or mid game or merge, and they're gone. I wonder if they called an audible and just like, we got to save Lulu somehow. Like, we're going to lose all these people. Let's do a swap. We haven't done it. We weren't planning on it. We don't want to do it in modern era, but Lulu's forcing our hand here.
That is a really, really good question that I want to say that, they've got everything mapped out beforehand that they don't deviate from, but I think there's a non-zero chance that is what happened.
Maybe slightly, just like 1%, if that.
Exactly.
Because like obviously you got actually, mate, would it change that much? Like camera crews, they're just swapping their buff and the
really
a
swap
on, right?
wouldn't change much.
It's not changing challenges. It's not changing anything.
No, because they have to. Yeah, with the challenges, they have to prepare for whatever X amount of people. So, yeah, exactly. So no, it really doesn't require much of anything.
Maybe we get to see Lulu though spread to the winds and potentially benefiting from this change, potentially not. Emily seems to be in a pretty good position, and backing up what you said before, I think a lot of people are falling in love with Emily as she grows on in this game. Still got those tinges, like you said, it comes out every now and then.
But that's good.
That is good. But the improvement is there. Gabe saying that Emily is so much fun to watch. Danica agreeing. I think Emily might be okay now, especially keeps her mouth shut, which is probably her biggest challenge. And then Dolores saying, oh gosh, Emily the Survivor I saw in episode 1 is definitely not the same one. I'm glad and happy to see where she's going from here. Gabe did like the swap as well, saying finally a real tribe swap. Not some of the pseudo fake sort of ones.
Last season they just sent like one person from each tribe to a different tribe. That was kind of weird.
Yeah. Cass Wash joins us. What's up, Cass? Welcome. And she said she agrees with Gabe. I wasn't fond of her at first, talking about Emily, of course, but no matter what, she's entertaining character.
Seems like a pretty common theme with pretty much everybody.
didn't like her. Now she's kind of cool.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so yeah, we end up with the tribe swap. Kind of a weird kind of layout. Definitely solidifying the fact that choosing those buffs is completely random, because the way the tribe sort of landed was a bit funny. On Lulu, Caleb stayed solo with 4 Bello joining him. Reba had 4 Reba plus Sean, and then Bello, maybe the most interesting, they had 2+2 plus Emily. So 2 Bello, 2 Reba, and then Emily joining them. One of the things that we've liked about this 90-minute format, sorry, Jake, is that we get to see a little bit more camp life. And I think with the tribe swaps, integrating new tribe members, all that sort of thing, and getting to know them a bit more, we got to spend a little bit of time on the island. We are on the islands with each of the tribes. So who of the new tribes do you find most fascinating, that you're most interested to look at?
Oh man, that's a good question. I still think that the Katura Bruce one-sided rivalry is really funny. That especially that sequence where like the editors, made it seem like she was going on and on and on and just wouldn't shut up. And it's like that one meme from Avengers. It's like, you took everything from me. And it's like, I don't even know who you are. that's that's how that's how it feels with Bruce.
Katura is
Bruce
just
is just like,
silently seething, and
yeah,
he
and
has
Bruce
no
is just
idea.
like, yeah, okay. And it
So
was,
that
yeah,
I do like that they kept Bruce and Katura together completely accidentally, but they
yeah,
joined Lulu. So Caleb's the original Lulu member in the new Lulu tribe. He's at the bottom, and he's just got a like charisma all over the place to try to, you know, just turn Caleb up that little bit, not more that notch, one more level, because he's got to ingratiate himself into a new tribe, which is 4 strong with just him. And just like the other tribes with the other Lulu members spreading out, I think they're just looking for cracks. And I think, fortunately, because of what you said, Katura and Bruce, there's potentially some cracks there. Like we saw, it was funny that whole thing happened right after like they landed at Lulu. Bruce sees that it's also the Tika tribe camp from last season, and he
mhm,
gets really teary. He gets
yeah,
emotional, like just seeing it there. Um, and I think like even when he does that, the Katura, we just get a shot of her like
rolling
silently
her eyes.
rolling her
Yeah,
eyes. It's so, she doesn't even need to criticize, just no words, just the eye roll, and it's
I
so
know.
perfect.
Yeah, I know. And it's like, okay, Couture, think about it. What does that gain him, really? Like, I get, okay, sympathy, but like, if anything, that makes him more of a threat because sympathy is bad in the game. It makes you, it gives you a story, you know, at the end, I guess, to say,
Mm.
oh yeah, last time was so hard, but I conquered my, fear of that happening again, coming back out here. So I mean, I guess she's just like, okay, just shut up about it. But it's like that was real, Like he really like
Oh
felt
yeah,
like he had been like transported back to that moment, and that's can't imagine how hard that is. So
I still enjoy. I'm hoping there's got to be some people on the internet already that has changed that Katura eye roll into a GIF that you can put on people's comments and things like that when they say something. You
yeah,
just use that. That's all. Um, but we did see a little bit here where Caleb was talking to Bruce about the summit and what actually went down. Katura, again, vying for Uncle Brucey here, very smartly, I think, kind of says, puts a hand out, maybe not smartly the way she did it, but wanting to hear Caleb's side of the story before Bruce can kind of influence what actually happened there, and maybe Caleb just plays along. She wants his take on it. What did you think of that sort of interaction there? Because I think this is where we see a confessional or a yeah from Bruce basically saying, "I think Katura doesn't like me."
yeah. I know. It's funny. It's like he's like, I have a weird feeling that perhaps there's a chance, and it's like, it's just so funny just knowing that like they can't see each other's confessionals, just knowing that literally her entire story thus far has been that she hates Bruce. Um, But as as for her asking smart, but you got to be more subtle, you know, too obvious, especially because we saw Bruce be like, she thought I was lying,
Yeah.
and it's like, yeah, Bruce, everyone's lying,
Of course they
so
thought you were
so
lying.
of course they're skeptical. um, but yeah, maybe it would have been smarter go one on one with Caleb, ask him, don't do it right then and there. Get with him privately, ask him what Brandon said, and compare contrast, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. The way she did, where she like cut him off and was like, "Hold up, before you
The
can
hand, like
save
literally
your
with the
ass."
hand as well.
Yeah, yeah, maybe be a bit more subtle.
um, it's, doing it one on one might have been a good idea because Jake takes that approach, and we see a bit of a one on one with Jake and Caleb potentially making something happen there as well. Then we see Caleb one on one with Katura anyway. Like, so Caleb's kind of, like I said, he's turning on the charisma. He's just like trying to get in there, and he's making friends with the group as a whole. He makes friends with Jake, and Jake says he's kind of open to it. And then Caleb tries to turn him against Uncle Brucey as well. It's like the chronological order here. We go back and forth a bit for the tribes and stuff, but we do see that these sort of play out not back to back to back, but these are the interactions that happened at the Lulu tribe. Caleb trying to ingratiate himself, gets in with Jake, gets in with Katura. What do you think the right move here is for Caleb?
So, as of right now, he probably doesn't understand the full story. That it's Katura. It's not so much that Bruce is running things. It's just she doesn't like him, and
Mm,
she doesn't like that
it's annoying.
he's annoying. And I guess actually that he's got sort of that charm. Seems like everybody but her really likes him, and so she doesn't like that. But so Caleb, I think, has a false impression that there's it's more than just Katura that might have that impression. Um, so I think he'll need to talk with Jake. You know, I don't know. I hope he doesn't blow everything up by telling him what Katura said, and then Jake confronts her or something. I don't want it to get. I don't want
So
Caleb to
Caleb could
sabotage.
really throw a spanner in the works here
He
for
could.
for
He could.
former Bello and kind of see what happens, or does he play it a little bit smoother and join that? Like, does he want the chaos and then maybe sneak through, or does he try to actually wedge those cracks open with Bruce and stuff between him and Couture? And
I think he
I don't think,
tries to. I think he
yeah,
tries to wedge open the cracks because I think he's smart enough to know that if he makes too much chaos, they could all just band together, and it's like, okay, our cracks have been exposed, but should we all just band together and just take this guy out because he's clearly an agent of chaos, just likes to blow things up. So I think I have faith that he'll play it a bit smoother than that.
Gabe said that Couture's whole storyline of just hating Bruce
Hating Bruce and hating lawyers.
is hilarious. Yeah, herself. Katura messed up and made it too obvious, like what you said, Jake. Gabe really backing you up there. Bruce said, Aaron points out that Bruce said Katura's disbelief of the story was a nail in the coffin for them working together. I mean, I think Katura slammed shut that coffin episodes ago, nailed it, put dirt on it, and she's jumping up and down on top of the,
Yeah.
the freshly packed ground. She is, of course, as Caswash put, the Hate Bruce Brigade.
Literally.
Um, yeah,
Yeah,
and
Emily. Her and Emily would get along
yeah,
for
from the
sure.
episode one. And Gabe says Kayla needs to find cracks. Got really lucky swapped with Katura and Bruce. So yeah, that's what we're saying. That potentially is what could get Caleb through here. Bello tribe is made up of 221, two Bello, two Reba, and one Emily. We see so Emily becoming the swing, and Emily like seemingly taking the advice from Lulu that maybe she came on a little bit too strong. We see a different Emily here integrating
Mhm.
herself with with her new tribe. And she does it by building trust and being transparent, and maybe throwing Sabaya under the bus a little bit, who wasn't there to, she's gone. Why not? That's the perfect Survivor move, right? There's no consequences, potentially no. I don't know how people are going to see that. What do you think of Emily's integration into this new mixed tribe, where she does potentially sit in a powerful position as a swing between two merged tribes here?
She is in the spot right now because there's no way. I think she mentioned, as I just said before, it's like, oh, maybe if Caleb comes off, too much chaos, they might band together and just take him out. That's not going to happen. Even though Emily brought that possibility up of like maybe the two will just join together and take me out. That's not going to happen. Okay, Emily, you're safe for this next vote at least. And I just don't see there's just no world where she's in danger if they go to tribal.
For at least, like at least two
For
more,
at
right? Like
least, yeah.
she's got that third seat swing, and she's sitting in the seat where she gets to choose between Austin and Drew, and then it was Kendra and Brando. So it was interesting as well that the two the two pairs that ended up in Bello, Austin and Drew, super tight, right? Very, very close. They're each other's number ones. We saw last week them getting to shenanigans and hijinks, trying to hide from D and Mama J with the idol they found and all that sort of thing. And we got reminded this week. I completely forgot. Austin points out that they literally have an idol, the goodwill advantage, and safety without power between this very, very tight duo, who are also the strongest people in their new tribe makeup as well. So if you're Emily, you're looking at Kendra and Brando, which we didn't see any kind of wooing of Emily as a swing vote. There was no kind of, throwing Riz at her to try to get her on side or anything. But Austin and Drew, with all these, advantages in their pocket, they come a calling. Who are you picking?
Who am I picking?
Yeah, like if you're Emily, you're looking at this tribe. I've got Austin and Drew on one side, happy to work with me, and seemingly like we even get a few confessionals from Drew saying, "Oh, I thought she was going to be super mean based on episode one."
Bitch.
Yeah, she's totally cool. I like her. So it's not even like it could potentially, the way he's talking, we don't know how it's going to play out, but potentially it could be a true, genuine alliance based on their personality so far, as opposed to one for convenience because you need her as a swing.
Yeah, I mean, Drew was even mentioning like, hey, when we get to the merge, hopefully Emily joins up with all the other Reba too. And it's like, whoa, already? You're already like talking like that? Because most people like try to play it cool for the confessionals, be like, yeah, we'll just use her for this vote and then just toss her aside. But I feel like legit, she's made like a really good impression on them, and makes her like seem like a really good ally. I mean, if I were her, I don't believe they told her about any sort of advantages, but probably my one complaint of this episode is that they, like you mentioned, they didn't show any sort of conversations with Brando or Kendra with Emily, which
Zero.
We know there were conversations. There's no way there weren't, that those didn't happen and they just couldn't show it. There were. And I'm not really sure why they didn't. It kind of makes it obvious of who she's going to choose. It's like, if they lose, Brando's on my team. So praying that, because it seems like probably him, because he's on the weaker, on the weaker side of that group.
We didn't really see much from Brando and Kendra at all.
Really,
not just with. Yeah, so I'm wondering if maybe it's not. Obviously, it wasn't necessarily a storyline this episode that there may be that danger, but I'm wondering if they like the tribe, as far as immunity challenges, might be okay-ish. So that could be a thing, because Reba looks weak.
Yeah.
Like even the makeup of the team, like before this episode, before the tribal, I was looking at it going, that is not a good team for challenges. You know what I mean?
It's funny because I didn't notice that, and then after they lost, I was like, wait. Yeah, why didn't I go like one by one and realize like this is not a strong tribe at all? And I'm surprised like none of them, mentioned it in confessionals. Either like we look bad, and I
Yeah.
think they did get a bit screwed because Sifu usually it seems like he's not the best basketball player based on his form.
It's because he's got Tai Chi, man.
He's got tight, yeah, he doesn't do basketball, but
He
yeah,
never
for
picked
any
up a ball. He's
for yeah,
he's playing with balls of pure energy and harnessing
right,
the
yeah.
universe and stuff. Yeah.
Roll the balls of rock and roll, of
Yeah, the
course.
machete, the
I'm
the
not gonna
axe
lie.
guitar.
I'm not gonna lie. His whole like grabbing the machete and like rocking out that would get on my nerves after like the second time he did it, probably.
Look, Chris isn't here this week, so I get to say because Chris, every episode, he's like, "I love Sifu. I did martial arts, all that sort of thing." I'm like, I hate Sifu, man. Like he he would piss me off so much. I'd be like, "Dude,
Yeah, I know.
just stop, sit down. It's a lot, man. Like just chill for one
I
second."
I hate to say this, but like I think he's putting on an act for the
It-
camera, and it's like I'm sure you're a pretty eccentric guy in your real life, but not this much. And obviously, especially since Shan was coming over the first time, he wanted to make some grand first impression, and so he went all out at once again. But yeah, but you can tell like, especially Jay Maya too is just like stop. And yeah, I think me and my girlfriend are on the same page of like, okay, Sifu, it's a bit much.
Yeah,
It's a
chill,
bit
man.
much. Yeah.
Chris actually agreed. Finally, Kahuna with the right take about Sifu.
Yeah. Who
Cass
voted for
enjoyed.
go to this bottom comment. This killed me when he said, "Who voted for Sifu?" Like
Yeah.
he's talking about
Who
himself in the third person. It's like, dude,
actually he
come
didn't even
on.
put the 4 there, which became one of my instant classic lines, which yeah, we'll talk about at the end of the travel, but I love that he's like, "Who voted Sifu?" Like I want to get that tattooed on me somewhere or something. Who voted
Who
Sifu?
voted Sifu? Oh my gosh.
So Sean is at Reba. By the way, Sean again trying very hard. It seems like maybe that's just his normal personality, but he is turning on the charm. He's turning on the. He's trying to get in with this tribe, and it does not look like he wants to leave anytime soon. He's trying hard, and he drops one of the best lines when you're talking about Sifu with the machete guitar. Do you
Mhm.
remember what Sean said after that little
I
display?
don't. I
He
don't.
said, and it made everyone crack up. D laughed her ass off, everything. And Sean just looks at him and goes, "You're a lyricist." Because he's just going,
Yeah, he's got a way with words. He really does. What
We're
even
at,
is his? What's his real name? Isn't it like Nicholas or something?
I forget now. I forget.
It's just
First,
so
all
funny.
the
Yeah.
preseason stuff had his real name.
Mhm.
And that's how I had him when we were leading up to the draft and all that sort of thing. And I was calling him by that in my head. And then, yeah, as soon as we see Phil, I was like, okay, you call yourself C. And I
What's his
bet
What's his real name? What's his birth name? It wasn't Sifu.
I guarantee you as well, just knowing Sifu the way I do from whatever they've shown us, I bet you he gave himself that nickname. Like he's
Oh
one of those guys that,
no, he absolutely did. I'm
yeah,
sure, and I'm sure Jeff just you know has a thing for that. So I bet during like the casting process, he brought that up, and they were like, Jeff immediately was on board. Like, yes, yes, you got to do it. And honestly, good move by Jeff. It's fun when people
yeah.
just do that. So I get it.
There you go. It is Nicholas, according to
So
Chris.
I get it. I get it,
I'd
Sifu.
go.
You wanna?
You go by
I'd change
Sifu
my
as
name
well.
too. I'd change my name too. That's
Hey, listen, I'm going by Kahuna, so I'm not blaming
yeah.
Sifu at all because my real name is worse than Nicholas. So if people ever find that out, actually, I will. I'll
I
unlight
know.
now
I know what it
chat.
is. I know what it
Jake
is.
knows
You
what it is, but
mention
you
it.
don't
Yeah.
know context, Jake, which is
I
what
don't.
makes it important.
It's such an
So
Australian name too.
My name is Nigel. Actually,
So
my full
Australian.
name, I don't know if I should dox myself on the internet, but it makes me sound so much more posh and fancy. My full name is
Mm.
Nigel Edward Brown. So it almost sounds
Oh
like
my.
I should have like a third Esquire at the end. Nigel Edward Brown, the third Esquire, Sir. That
You
sort of thing.
honestly, I'm not gonna lie. That sounds like a serial killer's name. You know how they it's
With three name thing.
yeah, because they always give the middle. They always give the middle name.
Middle name.
That's how
But
Nigel
why
Edward
that
Brown.
why it's
He
bad and why
assassinated so and so.
yeah, absolutely. Why I don't go by Nigel online as much. In Australia, there's a slang thing. It's probably not, it's a bit outdated now, but it's when I was a teenager, it became a thing. And it almost feels like I inspired it, but I really hope it's not the case. In Australia, Nigel is a derogatory term for a loner, someone with no friend. It's literally Nigel no friends. That's the phrase.
Interesting. Never heard that. Never heard
Ah,
of
you
it.
Nigel, come over here and hang out with us. You're being a Nigel over there with by yourself, kind of thing. So it's not a great name for young people growing up in Australia, but Kahuna it is. So we'll go with that. Sean being a Nigel himself, having no friends on Reba at the moment, he's trying real hard. What did you think of the new challenge that we saw, Jake? Brand new challenge that we've never seen before. I like to call it not so fast. It's where they look at bags and have to replicate a knot precisely in order to try to
I did not know. I had no idea what you were referring to at first. I was so confused. That was a great challenge, Jeff. Yeah,
it was a
bonus.
good challenge from Jeff, wasn't it? You gotta
Yeah,
replicate this knot on a bag, try to open it without getting
that
caught.
was. I was surprised. I was surprised. Not gonna lie, I was surprised by them uh, giving that much attention to detail, being like, we got to put this exactly how it was, so he doesn't know. They were even saying like, oh, the shoe was on the bottom. It was oriented this
Yeah,
way
like
with
facing downwards.
with a slight slant to the left. And I was like, oh wow, okay.
What does that say to you? I got good vibes, and it's probably because I'm biased at D's on my team, but I'm like going, D's smart. Like
Yeah,
she's good. She's thinking like remember last episode we were talking about how they busted Drew
wasn't here last
and
episode.
oh okay. And that obviously what you just admitted there is that you didn't watch it back. So, that
But I do remember. I remember.
yeah, Drew and Austin got busted by D. She chooses to not sort of call them out for it, but play along with it. She's showing a few things here and there, which I'm hoping is a good sign for D that she's smart, and also she's got that giant toe, so that's going to help her at some point, right?
It's got it. As we mentioned, it's the one challenge. The one challenge that's gonna save her ass. I know it.
Yeah, the post merge toe grab thing.
Exactly.
Before Danica B said Nigel isn't bad, sounds very British. When Jake said you had an Australian name, I immediately thought Bruce. So that's a very Aussie name.
It's so funny. Nigel, I've never ever heard of an American named Nigel. Ever.
Probably not, hey. I've never either, now that I think of it. It's a very British
Never.
name, I think. It's a
Very
very British name.
British or Australian, yeah.
Gabe says, Kahuna, what if a Nigel plays Survivor and wins? Would you? Of course I would. To have
He's a
it like
loner.
just like Jake is for Jake now. Jake on Survivor, Jake on TNT just gets right to his heart.
He's a good swimmer.
Yeah, what that joke as well. Did he laugh for about 45 seconds?
People
He
were
said, I'm going to jump ship.
Yeah.
Lucky I'm a good swimmer. And then just laughed ridiculously
little,
long.
A little ominous.
I'm wondering if that laugh that he had is maybe what causes him to pass out next episode.
I was
It's
literally just about to say
too
that.
long.
I was just about to say that. Yeah.
He lost his breath.
But also, people are saying like maybe he's like experiencing like delirium, and he's like delirious that he thinks his jokes are funnier than they really are. Because let's be honest, it wasn't that funny.
It was not a good joke.
It was all right.
Not a good joke.
It was all right. It got a little chuckle out of me. But
he laughed a lot. He laughed so much at his own joke.
And hey, I would do this. I'd probably do the same thing if I were on Survivor because I'd make myself laugh too. but that
You
was
got
a
nothing
bit.
else out there.
But that was a bit concerning, and especially because we see in the preview that he's fainting again. And
Yeah.
I swear
He
to you, because
hyperventilated. He just lost oxygen from laughing too hard. That's what it
exactly,
is. Yeah. It's
I
got to be.
because I swear to you, if Jake gets medically evacuated, that's 2 seasons in a row that my first pick gets medically evacuated.
Hopefully we'll see him. I don't want that to happen. Like as much as I want you at the bottom of our draft, I don't want Jake to
I'm
go home
I'm
medical.
coming back. I'm coming back.
We'll get to that, everyone, as well. We got the points coming up, but we do get to the immunity challenge in this episode. Swim to a cage, climb up, climb in, carry the whole cage to the beach. A rebounder digs themselves out from underneath it, and then they basically just shoot hoops. This is a cool challenge, I thought. I like this. What did you think of it?
This is a challenge that was made for me because I love basketball, and because it just seems like, oh, it's just a stupid sport. It'll never help you anywhere. Well, it would have helped me here. And we saw with Sifu, if he would
Did
have
not help Sifu.
picked up a basketball more often growing up instead of the Tai Chi ball of energy, maybe it would have. Well, I guess he still survived, but he almost didn't, and it would have. So this would have been good for me. I liked it. It was
It was good.
I think it was like slightly new. I think the whole like picking up the cage out of the water, that's not new, but I don't remember really them this like combination of like that plus the digging plus the shooting the hoop. I think that's somewhat new, but
Yeah.
yeah, overall it was pretty good. I'd say it was above average, because as for somebody like me that doesn't really care too much about the challenges as opposed to like the strategy, I was more engaged than I normally was during this.
So we did see Lulu with their I put air quotes Lulu with their first
Yeah,
win because
it's not. Yeah,
it's Caleb, right?
yeah,
More accurately, Caleb wins his first immunity, and he was Steph Curry out there. When you're talking about that, you're a basketball fan. Caleb, like his form, you could tell he plays right. Like he
for sure.
he, he definitely shoots, which is great because later he said, "You don't have to put me on the Warriors. I'm
Put me on the
Kawhi. Put me on the
Raptors.
Raptors." Being from Canada and stuff, he goes, that's
Yeah,
basically saying, give me any team and I'm bringing home a championship. And I like that from
just give me
Caleb,
something better than Brandon and Hannah, please.
Yeah, and I'll get there. Kawhi and the Raptors, he's just shooting threes. And I don't know if you notice, Jake, as someone who does play basketball, I knew he played basketball from his form, but then when he shot that last one, he goes, that's the one from deep. Like he
Mm,
called his own shot from far away. I'm like,
hmm.
he played like he's a basketball player for sure.
Yeah,
Like I know that's the case.
for sure.
Last week, Caleb dominated in the reward challenge. Like Lulu doesn't win immunity challenges, but when they won the reward challenge, Caleb really kind of dominated, and Austin carried for his tribe to second. And we saw that actually replicated this week. Is that Caleb was so far out in front, shooting those threes. Austin then got his team over the line, and they're in second place, and both of them respectively kind of leading from the front and carrying the physical side in the challenges for the team. I kind of dig this, like, even though they haven't interacted, they're not like going at each other or anything, but at least in the challenges, in like kind of a sports vibe as opposed to on the beach survivor tribe, there's a little battle going on like between the two of them. And so far, Caleb's kind of got the advantage over Austin, which I kind of dig.
And now that he's got some help around him, he can actually make something happen. Now that he's on the Warriors, not the
Well, I was gonna say, like, as far as looking at the Bello tribe that he had around him, they were undefeated. You basically take out Brando and Kendra. Kendra is decent, but you take out Brando and Kendra and swap them for Caleb. And I was like, he talks about the Warriors. I'm like, that's like putting Bradley Beal on the Suns, man.
my
You know,
son's baby. Exactly.
there's a reference, Jake. I got you.
Yeah, you
You
got
don't
it.
have Durant and Booker and then add Bradley Beal. That's not fair. That's Caleb. Caleb on his Bello team.
Exactly. Yeah, because I mean, even pretty much all of them. Katura, Bruce, Jake, Kelly, they're all good. They're all really
Strong.
good. Yeah.
Strong.
So yeah, adding Caleb's not fair. It's like adding DeMarcus Cousins on the Warriors. except
That didn't really work out that well.
that didn't really work out. Never mind. That didn't really work.
It was when KD joined
But-
the Warriors.
But I tell you what, because I was the biggest KD fan growing up. I had, even though I live in Arizona, I always had Thunder stuff. He just was my favorite.
Ah,
When he left and went to the Warriors, I about burned his jersey.
you
I
burned his
didn't.
jersey?
I didn't actually go through with it, but I almost did because I was like, how old was I? Like 14. I was like, I don't want to start a fire. I don't want to like
That's
spread a
good.
fire around the neighborhood.
That's
But
such an
I
American
would've.
thing to do.
I
I'm
would've,
annoyed at this
and
thing. I'm gonna light my own property that I paid money for on fire.
so I was upset when that happened. But I remember being even more upset hearing that DeMarcus Cousins had signed with the Warriors. I remember thinking like 1 through 5, they've got like freaking
Yeah,
all-stars everywhere. Sorry, this
Yeah,
is probably
it
like
technically was.
not. There's probably not a lot of overlap
Jake and I starting
right
a
now.
new NBA podcast. NBA starts next
Exactly.
week. So
I'm excited. I'm excited, and it's funny because now I've forgiven KD because he's on my Suns now.
Of course you have. Of course.
Yeah.
Much like, Lulu, Bello reaching out to Emily, welcoming them in, all these new tribes. Reba, however, first time that they have Sean, first time they lose. So
Maybe it wasn't Brandon that was the problem. Maybe it was Sean.
Sean. So Sean goes to tribal 4 from 4 episodes in a row, 4 tribals in a row. He's 100%. He hasn't missed. He's
impressive.
Yeah. So Sean in the vulnerable position is new Reba tribe. And they kind of consider whether they're going to get rid of him or whatever. Obviously, I said on Lulu, Caleb looking for cracks, and there is potentially cracks on Reba because we've said before, I'm not a fan of Sifu's little antics. It seems that maybe his tribe aren't either because Jay Maya pushes for a blindside against Sifu here. Whereas Mama J, I like that sort of J Maya and Mama J.
Mama J,
yeah. Mama J. Julie emphasizes the importance of keeping strength. She saw what happened at that challenge. She even said, if it wasn't for Sifu, we'd still be sitting in that water, lifting the cage,
Probably.
right? Yeah.
Even the other tribes struggled for moments at a time, and it's like, whoa,
freaking heavy. It's a big ass cage, man.
Yeah.
So what do you think of what's going on at Reba here, leading up to tribal? We obviously know the results, but Sean thinks or potentially may have a way in with J Maya. The 3 women who are saying that they're going to be a strong alliance with D, Mama J, and J Maya, they say we want to keep it women. D saying, and J Maya saying we got to get rid of Sifu. Mama J saying we got to keep Sifu. Did they make the right decision going to tribal?
Well, I mean, kind of seems like it wasn't up to them to a certain extent, but I think it's a how good of a move it was depends on each person. Personally, it's funny because I believe for Jay Maya, probably smartest to sort of for her to realize I'm on the bottom with Sifu. Like she doesn't. I don't think she really knows.
Well, especially with the Austin Drew thing, right? She's in this conversation right now simply because Austin Drew aren't. They're on another tribe, right? So the only reason why she's even talking with D and Mama J is because they're forced to.
Right. I mean, yeah, those 4 are tight. Mama J, D, Austin, and Drew. And I mean, yeah, if only, if I'm just looking out for her, I'd say get with Sifu, realize that, those guys are on top. I mean, Julie isn't really adding much physically. So if you want to, if that's your concern, maybe take her out. You're taking out a number from those top 4, and you're making your tribe stronger while still keeping Sifu. But Jay Maya just seems to have a fixation on he could have an idol.
The funny thing is though is that D knows he doesn't have an idol, right?
But she can't say that.
Yeah, like But this is what gets we get to tribal. They start out. Everyone's sort of saying Sean's actually really cool. Like we like Sean. He's a
Yeah,
good
yeah.
guy. He seems to be turning on, but we're Reba strong. So
And I mean, he was. I think actually, maybe I'll kind of retract my back statement, my last statement about J Mai being fixated on Sifu. It's not. It wasn't so much that she was just really like Sean. She just
yeah, I think
really,
she
really
dug
liked
Sean.
Sean. So,
She kept saying like he's bringing good vibes.
which I get because if you're
Yeah,
around Sifu, you want some different
a bit of
vibes. And
relief.
Sean is. Let's just he's different than Sifu for sure. So I get it.
This is how different Sifu is because when he got a question from Jeff, he's sort of saying, "Yeah, Sean's great. We love him, but that's not the burger I want." Like that was what he said, right? And Sean's like, "Well, what do you want? I can be pizza. I can." So what is that the burger you want? Like, what food would you be if you're out there, Jake?
Man, I'd like to think I'd be like a juicy steak. You know, people would just look at me and their just mouths would
You,
start watering. They're like, "Whoa, I
you got
need that."
prime rib written across your forehead right now, Jake. I can see it on the camera.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, I'd just be like, I need to work with that guy right there. So, but no, what was seafood? What was he waffling about? Burger.
That's all he does, man. And I don't know if you know this, but he's been doing Tai Chi since he was 6 years old.
Oh, really? I
Yeah,
actually
yeah.
didn't know that.
He
Um,
wants he
did
brings
you
it
know
up
that
every
seafood?
second chance he's got.
But did you know his name's not really Sifu? It actually is just like uh,
Master, teacher.
master trainer. Did you know
Master trainer, that's right.
that?
um so what this tribal council for me, Jay, was really weird. Like it was an
Super
odd,
weird.
super weird
Super
tribal
weird.
council, right? It
Yeah.
was long. Like I remember getting towards the end and there was still 15 minutes on the runtime when I was like, oh, something's gonna happen here. Seafood maybe does have an idol. I don't know. Like what's gonna happen that there's
Yeah.
15 minutes for this last tribal. But the reason why we ended up with 15 minutes is because, like I said at the start, Sean, I got the vibe that he was trying hard.
Mhm.
Like you said, he turned to Sifu and said,
It
I
seemed
could
like
be
he really wanted
pizza.
to stay. Yeah.
He really wanted to stay. And then all of a sudden, he flips the switch and gets super emotional and delivers this very dramatic speech about how he just really, really just loves his husband and wants to go home, turns to everyone and says, vote for me. We have another quit. And Jeff's face,
He was
like
pissed.
the
He was
steel look,
pissed.
yeah. Like, did you see that coming? I don't think, like, even in the
Not even
edit,
in the
the fact that they
slightest.
left it that way, I'm wondering if they had any idea because there was no lead up
No,
confessionals, there
no.
was no anxiety, there was no like, we saw Hannah talking about jonesing for cigarettes and all that sort of thing. We got nothing
Yeah.
from him. We saw him trying, like in his way, like he's turning on the charm. He's like super friendly. He's trying to get in there, and then boom, like just pulls the rug on all of us.
Yeah, you could tell that not only was Jeff pissed, he was just confused. He was like,
Yeah,
okay, is this some sort of like ultra like 40 chess strategy that I'm not aware of, or is this for
do
real?
you think it could have been? Because we did see leading up to it in the conversation with Mama J, she basically said, obviously when we're at tribal, we're gonna vote for Seafood, but we have to tell Seafood that it's you, and we may lay it on a bit thick that we're Reba strong, but it's okay. First
Yeah,
of
they
all, I
even
just want to point out that was very smart from Mama J, right? Like
yeah,
to even that
yeah.
was very, very clever
Because
for Julie to
that would
put that in
spook
there.
people if they weren't really thinking it through. Like,
Yeah.
hey, they got to keep up some impression here. You know, they're just lying. But you know, she went the extra mile and was like really laid it out. Like, okay, there's gonna be things said as tribal, but that's not what's really happening.
Yeah.
This was just so weird. Like, I just can't get over how weird it was. Like, because I mean, I know it's hard because it's in the moment for Sean, so he probably wasn't thinking this through. But okay, I get you miss your husband. Like, that's hard. It's hard to be away from your family. It doesn't matter if
Yeah.
it's a day, a week, or 26 days. It's hard. But you're gonna be in Ponderosa anyways.
Mm.
You don't go.
Yeah,
You
you're
don't
not
get
going
to
to
go
see him
home.
tomorrow.
Yeah. And also, I mean, Jeff, it's kind of funny. So Jeff kind of came out and gave his thoughts. I don't know if you read it or
I've not. I've
not.
not.
So he basically laid out he's pretty mad. He's not happy. He's not happy about it because he feels like that Shan was romanticizing a quit, and he
Yeah.
tried to make it seem like it wasn't, but it was. And um, he says, it's funny because on one hand, Jeff is like, this is the hardest Survivor has ever been, but then in the same vein, he says in that statement, he's like, it's only 26 days, bro. It's only
Yeah.
26 days.
Exactly. He's like,
Yeah.
and they're what, 9 days in or something? Like it's not
Yeah.
even. It's not even
Yeah.
20. Like he's up to 17 left or something
Yeah,
like
and
that. Like
Sean has given no indication whatsoever that, like, he's really been missing his husband, like, extra,
yeah,
these 9
there
days.
hasn't been the lead up at all.
And I think, he said his piece, about, his upbringing and, being in the Mormon church. I was also raised in that church, so I get it. I won't go too much into that, but I get it. Especially, him being gay. I get.
Yeah.
Um, but also at the same time, I hate to say this, it's going to come off as kind of being a dick, but like, what does that have to do with this? What does that have to do with
Yeah.
with quitting, or I guess whatever, going to? I don't know.
I actually, I gotta. Maybe I'm too cynical and I'm a bit of an asshole, and I don't think naturally that people have the best intentions all the time. I don't know about Sean. He seems like a genuinely nice dude, but I felt like that speech was really like rehearsed and like he wanted
Well,
his dramatic
yeah.
moment and he
Well,
gave
also
like
probably because he probably said that during casting. It's probably a big
yeah.
part of his story, to the casting team. So that's
But
probably why it felt
even
more
the quid
rehearsed.
as
But
well, the husband stuff, I was
yeah,
like,
yeah, I agree because
yeah,
yeah, I agree. I agree with that. But also what just really kind of I hate feeling like we're just piling on Sean right now. But I will just say that one more thing. In his exit interviews, I don't like his vibe, the way he's talking. He says, he could have gone far if he wanted to.
what
And
about
it's
the
like,
fact that with that combined with the fact that he's an elementary principal, he's a for Australians, he's a primary school principal, not an elementary school principal. So he's got little kids that he's example to them. Thanks too hard now, profession and stuff. But like, I felt weird, like for a principal to show the kids that, yeah, I'm just gonna quit and go home because I miss my husband, so I'm out. Like
yeah,
the
not
resilience or the
yeah.
that he's trying to instill in his students. I'm sure that that's what every principal wants for their students to be able to go through the challenges that school presents and come out a better side of it. But to go, it felt a little bit childlike to go, I miss my husband. I want my family. I'm out. Like, not that I would ever compare missing your husband into cigarettes, but it felt similar. Like, I don't have my cigarette. I'm quitting. I want my husband. I'm quitting. You know what I mean? Like, I wasn't a fan of that.
I know. I just, yeah, like I said, I kind of hate. I think there's some stuff
Someone's
going on
getting
in the back,
someone's getting
but
voted out. That's for sure.
but yeah, like I said, I kind of hate feeling like I'm piling on, but kind of just don't really fully get it. And I
That's
feel
how
like Jeff
quitters
said,
on Survivor, man.
I feel like some people have said this, and I think maybe it's a bit harsh, but it also could be true. Is that he got blindsided at the last tribal, and now he's in this really tough spot, and I don't think maybe
He
he
sees the
wasn't
writing on the
ready.
wall.
Maybe not so much that, but like he saw that there could have been a possibility tonight, and so he just wanted to like not even deal with it, even if it
Yeah.
were. And maybe he knew,
I'm
like,
going anyway. I'm gonna do it on my terms. I get to give my
yeah.
speech. I get to do
And
my whole thing.
I don't
Maybe.
know if he was. I don't know if he was thinking this far ahead, but he maybe saw like, okay, maybe they voted out Sifu, but Sifu's our best challenge performer. After this, we're definitely going to lose again, and they're going to vote me out.
Yeah, 100%.
So I don't know. That's probably a bit of extrapolation by me, but
All I could think when I was watching him give that speech is that if it was genuine and if it was real, like really, really meant a lot to him and came from the heart, I thought it was so funny. And I'm mean here because I'm piling on Sean as well. I thought it was so funny that he had to give that heartfelt, deep, emotional speech about coming out in the Mormon church and all the challenges he put up with. And he had to do it with people that he's known for about 12 hours and was like holding their hands, going, "We are family." Like this tribe, and like he's going so earnest and so
yeah,
serious. I'm like,
that's the sort of speech you make after 26 days. You know,
yeah,
you're like
that's
you're voted out, like, you know, you're the fire making loser or something. That's what it felt like. But he was doing it, you know, fourth person voted out. But yeah, if any of you and you, Kahuna, if you're interested, go see what Jeff said about Shan. He goes pretty hard. He goes pretty
yeah.
hard in on him.
I mean, because he's looking down the barrel now of a season where we've had 4 episodes and 50% quit. 50%. Like
Yeah.
2 out of the 4
Although
were
I
quit,
will
and then one
say,
of them was Brandon. So,
yeah,
you know.
I will say, I think. Well, I can't say this because we had no idea that Sean would potentially quit. I don't think it's going to happen again. I think this is it. I think they've weeded out the weaklings.
Yeah, hopefully. Hopefully. Danica said that she thought it was a ploy. I thought it was a play, but then he really went over the top. So, like, is he trying to throw Sifu off so he doesn't play an idol, but just played it so hard that the rest of the tribe believed him and wanted to send him home?
But it's like, okay, you don't ask them to vote you out. So no, he was definitely asking to be voted out. Because if he really was just doing a play, he would have, you know, gave his whole spiel, but then not asked to be voted out. He would have just
I
been said,
I don't
you
think
know,
you do husband stuff. I don't think,
well, not the husband stuff, not the
yeah,
husband
like
stuff,
all
but
that
like
stuff. You don't need to do all that if it's a play, right? Like I think that was
just say,
silly.
you know, like, oh, I don't want to go home. I've had such a good time here. This has been my dream, you know.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
exactly. You can play the I know I'm going, it's inevitable. You're clearly not on my side, wink wink.
yeah,
But yeah, like
just
it's a little bit different.
but yeah, like
Chris had a different take on it. Chris had a different take on Sean's move here.
let's see.
Sean made a split second decision and didn't think it through. Shane, he had one moment of wit.
You
So
think that
he had
you,
every, like, just in the moment, he was like, oh, fuck, I'm going. And then decided there and then.
and then the second he got to Ponderosa, he's like, "What have
Damn
I
it.
done?" And now he just has to like completely backtrack and make it seem like that really was what he wanted to do. I don't know, man. I don't think there's really much else we can say about it. It's just weird, just weird.
Yeah, it was a strange
Also,
end to
yeah,
the episode.
like Danica said, the fact he voted for D. Why else would he do that?
Yeah, yeah,
Which
exactly.
also weird. Why did he do that?
What also was weird was the last minute thing from D, like saying to Mama J, vote for Sifu. And then she ends up being the sole vote for Sifu
And
in a
again,
really
because
weird spot. Like, I don't understand what's going on here.
even more weird, given the fact that it was J Maya that was the one that was like, it has to be Sifu, has to be Sifu. You think that if anyone that would be like, okay, cool story, Sean, but I don't give a fuck. You know, it would be her. I want you
Yeah.
here. You know, but it was D. Weirdly
That's
enough,
what D actually said. What was it? Caswash said here. D basically was like, good
cute
story,
story, Sean.
Sean.
Yeah,
That's about Sifu. Dead. It's so good.
I know.
So yeah,
Man.
and then I didn't get that because again, as I said, D knew that Sifu doesn't have an idol, right?
She does, unless
So
like
so
remember.
why are you trying to like
Ah man, I don't
you don't
know.
need to blindside him so he doesn't use it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, you could
you
tell
know
him
how
straight
like
to his. You
he's
could
got
tell
an
him straight to
idol,
his
he might
face.
use it next week. He might use it next week. He might use it. So let's get him now when he's very confident not to use it. Right? That's the thing with the idol play. You vote them out when they won't play it. You have to
Mhm.
surprise them, and but she knows he doesn't have it. So why did she still go down that path so hard? And then one thing that upsets me as well is that this potentially means that D doesn't have the influence over Mama J and J Mai that maybe she thought she had. Will D end up in a bad position? Because we see coming out of this a bit of tension. Sifu in next week's previews saying that he's dynamite, he's going to explode. He's like all over the place. I don't know what consequences will come from that. He doesn't have the numbers at all. Like, he can't do anything if J Maya and Mama J stick true. But I am interested to see what his chaotic energy being nice and contained and normal, what it would be like when he's like, ah.
I know this is going to be like Rupert with Johnny Fairplay. Who the fuck voted for me? He's gonna forget all that crap about Tai Chi, inner peace. He's gonna
be walking around the tribe going,
yeah.
Who voted Sifu? Who voted Sifu? Did you vote for Sifu? Who voted Sifu?
Then after everyone says speech. No, he's gonna start looking at himself. Did Sifu vote for Sifu? This is going to be very interesting.
Interesting times ahead, that's for sure.
Yeah, I will say, I have high hopes for the rest of the season. I think that, as long as this is the end of this, nonsense that of people, quitting, soft quitting, whatever you want to call it.
Because I'm enjoying the season. I think the episodes are very good. It just gets tainted right at the end.
Yeah.
And I think we have to
this
try
was a really good
hard.
episode. This was a really good episode.
And that's what happened in episode 1 as well with Hannah. People were like, oh, this is the worst episode. I was like, it was only right at the end when it got sucky.
Yeah.
I'm like, we have to try to remember that. And I'm hoping that it does pick up because I don't want, like I said, it's 50% so far as quitters. And then one of them who wasn't a quitter was Brandon, who didn't equip himself well in the game at all. So I'm like, the people that have gone out have clearly been the right people to go out because they, but I'm hoping that we don't get a lot more of that and we want to see a bit more action at Tribals and not just the rest of the episode. But I thought it was a good episode overall. Weird at the end, got very strange at the end. Wasn't necessarily happy about that, but it's still a fascinating watch, which does bring us to the end of episode 4. I'm going to throw this out there. I'm going to bet here, Jake, that I know your answer is no, but I'm going to put it to the chat. Should we go through points for the draft, even with Chris? Does Jake want to see the points update?
I'll do it. I'll do it because I'm got to see it. Got to deal with it somehow.
You got to deal with it. You got to push through. You're not going to say, I miss home. I want to go home now. I
want to go back to my 43 spreadsheet when I dominated.
So, after 4 episodes of season 45 in our TNC draft, Team Jake, 3rd place with 92.5 points total. Your top scorer is Emily.
No surprise.
And then you've got J Maya and Jake on 20 points each. So Emily on 30.
How the heck did they both have the same?
Maya on 20. Then you've got Hannah and Brandon.
Brando and Brandon.
Brandon, who is gone now. Brando's got another episode or 2 episodes on him. Brando has 10 points total. Brandon had 11.
They're shafting Brando for sure.
Yeah, Brando. I wonder if he was like, see, you made me be Brando. You made him be Brandon, and he left, and now I'm Brando for the rest of the season when I could have been Brandon from the start. Like,
he's pissed.
You picked the wrong Brandon.
He's pissed. Yeah.
And then 2nd place, me, Team Kahuna, 139 points. My big scorers are Austin, 34, D, 29, and then Kelly and Sean, 21. Sean goes out with 21. Kendra,
how many do you have
14.
total?
139.
Wow.
So I'm about 48 ahead. Yeah, 47 points. And Chris, still out in front. I'm hoping he comes back to the pack a little bit here, but he's on 169 points. Nice. So I think that's a pretty similar
Did
gap
he have
between all
Sean?
three of us.
Did he have Sean?
No, I had Sean.
Has he
So my
lost
first
anyone yet?
loss.
No,
He
he had
lost
Sabaya.
He had
Okay.
Sabaya. So his points, he's being carried by Caleb on 35.
Interesting.
And Drew
Well,
on
I guess he
44.
got that advantage, so that makes sense.
Drew on 44. He's
Wow.
got 2 advantages and a bunch of confessionals, right?
Yeah.
And a bunch of challenge wins and stuff too. So he's sitting pretty. Drew and Caleb really carrying him. So
I
I don't
still
know.
can't believe I managed to pick both Hannah and Brandon. That's got to be one of the most ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like any combination of players.
Look, the good thing for you is that after that first episode, Hannah, Brandon, and Emily was looking really, really tough. But Emily, much
I'm
better
feeling,
position for you now. Really good. Yeah.
I won't go in too much about like, the editing or whatever, but guys, Emily could win. I'll just put it there.
She could.
She could have.
Definitely could.
She has some
I
of the.
don't think she will, but she could. For sure.
A lot of people, who follow Edgic and stuff say, she's got the winner's edit. Who knows?
There you go.
Maybe I'm
Jake,
pumping myself full of copium. Pumping myself full of copium right now.
But yeah, that's where we stand. About like 40 between each of, so 40 from you to me, 40 from me to Chris. We got to close that gap. We got to catch Chris. Hopefully, is he in trouble? He's got Sifu. Sifu might be in trouble. He's got Bruce with Katura. Maybe there's something there, but he looks pretty set with Drew.
I have
Julie, Caleb.
I have the impression that Bruce is gonna go far.
You reckon?
This season? Yeah, he
doesn't have any connects though. He's not in with anyone.
But like,
and he's definitely got people aiming at him.
He's only got one person aiming at him.
It's enough. She's very angry.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't think. Well, okay, all right, fair enough.
I don't know. I don't know either. Who's your saving hope here? I think Emily. Jake. I think Jake and Emily.
No, I'm worried about him.
Oh yeah, because he's gonna die next week.
Why he's gonna die? He's just gonna die.
He laughed too hard.
But like seriously, why else would they be showing those scenes if he wasn't evacuated? He has to be. I'm pretty convinced. They did it
last week. He fell in the fire. Mike Scoopined it.
But it's like it's showing each like it's progressively getting worse and worse.
It's a convergence of evidence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, it's like they kept showing like scenes with Matthew last season, him just like, oh, my arm. And it's like, why else would they be showing that so much if it wasn't going to come back later,
It's true. Gabe says that Emily looking great story-wise.
Yeah.
And that Bruce has both Jakes on his side.
He's got me on his side.
I said he didn't have any connects. I was wrong. He's got you.
You're wrong. No, but it does seem like, that Jake, Boston Jake, I mean, he did kind of say, like, hey, Bruce isn't off the table, but also like, hey, if we can keep him, let's do it.
Georgette backing you up, calling Emily as a winner pick.
That's what I'm saying, guys.
There you go.
That's what I'm saying.
So, yeah, we end up with our points. We end up with Sean going home. Very weird end. And what potentially looks like an exciting next week. Will Sifu go full Super Saiyan? Will Jake go home? Will Jake wipe some tears? So there's a lot potentially going on next week. But that does bring us into to the end of this episode. I want to thank everyone in the chat. Danica, Gabe, Georgette, Aaron. We love you all the time. Dolores, Chris, obviously the people that are supporting TNT from the get-go, Casswash, everyone along for the ride. Thank you so much. I hope it was a good time. Chris will be back next week, I hope. And if you haven't switched over, I think he's actually podcasting right now, simultaneously live. He's doing the challenge draft with Drew from Angel's Cake and Chanel from Reality
Everybody
Realness.
that chose this over that one, you're a
Look,
saint.
I'm not going to throw Chris under the bus, but everyone knows he has said, I don't know if he said it on the Survivor one, but he's definitely said it on the Challenge one. He thinks that the Challenge may have overtaken the Survivor in
He
his
won't
rankings.
shut up about it. He won't shut up about it.
So there you
Whatever,
go.
Chris.
He's made his allegiance clear. After we stop here, everyone go head on over to the other Nullified Take podcast because Chris, Chantel, and Drew are drafting Challenge 39 right now. But we're going to cover episode 5 next week. Jake, thank you, sir. I hope that the Suns fail miserably this week in the new season. But I'm happy to talk to you about Survivor at least come next week. Everyone in the chat,
you're a Lakers fan, aren't you?
I'm a Lakers fan, so that's bad as well. I know, I recognize that that's not great to be a Lakers fan, but I am, unfortunately. So
are you like a? Well, we'll talk off air about that.
We'll talk off air. Yeah. But until then, everyone grab your torches, head back to camp. We'll see you next time. Bye.